Yo, what's up, people? What's up? What's up? We are back again with Shelf Space, the podcast. We've been having a lot of fun with this. A lot of comments, a lot of messages in between shows, and I've just had a lot of fun talking to some people, replying to some things, and even more fun in kind of our behind the scenes meetings on keeping the topics exciting and some great things to come. I'm excited. You know me, I'm your host, Almond Brown. That's what I go by on the show. Y'all know me as Chris, but call me Al. Just drop it. Drop Al B in the comments out there. I know y'all hear that laugh. Well, guess who is back? Mr. Wild Wild West, and I'm gonna give him a chance to introduce himself. I told you guys he was the third part of the show. We are still waiting on Headache to make his grand entrance, but I'm gonna let Wild Wild West introduce himself, and then we're going to get into some fun topics today. So I'm turning it over to you. Go ahead.
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's good to be back. Had some things going on with work and some things, just life in general. But it's good to be back in the saddle. I love the concept and what we talk about, and hopefully you guys are enjoying what we're doing. And kudos to Almond Brown and Headache for keeping things going while I was on a bit of a hiatus, but I am back.
Awesome, man. Awesome. We appreciate you. And even though you hadn't been on, you were still contributing to a lot of the content. So a lot of that good content, we give credit to you on that too. So, folks, the concept really of the show, and the third member not here right now is going to be joining us shortly. Headache Mitchell. The concept of the show is really to have a shelf space for a lot of different topics to talk about, all related to really improving ourselves, mental health, just self improvement, conflict management, things like that. So we'll go through a lot of things throughout our day that affect us in different ways. And during the pandemic, over these past 2 years, we've seen a lot of people deal with depression, uh, isolation, just different kinds of emotions that have come up. Really, what kind of stung me is, I had a friend that I've known since my college days, and just had gotten news that he had passed away, and it really affected me. It was something that not necessarily dealing with COVID, but just a tough moment maybe in his life, and used to talk to a lot of people about that, even talk to a counselor about that, just thinking of, like, what could I have done, reached out, been more involved. So that's what got me thinking of this, talking with Headache, talking with Wild Wild West about it, and found out that a lot of us are the same. Our struggles in life a lot of times are the same, and we just share experiences with each other. It strengthens us. So that's really where the crux of the show is built in, and around that, man, we like sprinkle in a lot of fun, a lot of humor, a lot of our own life experiences, and so
Yeah.
that's really we have fun with. So I'm going to let Mr. West though get into a little one of his topics. So during this show, we're going to do Wild West top list. You never know what that may be, but it's always something that's really buzzing on the internet. We're going to also talk about mental health awareness, and tied in with that is the most recent episode of P Valley. That's something we follow here on the show. Kind of got into watching it just out of curiosity in that first season, and it was really good. The second season has been even more amazing. A couple of things I didn't like, but I really did find that last episode to be eye opening. So with that, we're going to jump right in. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. West.
So, there's actually a list that's out there that kind of got the hip hop community in an uproar. It's actually the Rolling Stone top 200 hip hop albums of all time, or maybe they called it rap or whatever they did. But it's a very bizarre list, to say the least. The top seven that's up there. There's a few in there. To be honest, I'm like, how are they even in the top seven? Because I do something on Facebook that's called Magnificent Seven. I'll put out like top seven MCs, top seven RB singers, or top seven whatever restaurants, whatever. I'm real big on lists, but the album that's really got me a little bit in an uproar, as well as the hip hop community, is Cardi B's album, her debut album, being number 16 out of all the
Oh,
albums
whoa,
that
whoa,
were ever made.
whoa, come on, come on. And I just pulled the list up. You're right. Gosh, man, when we were talking about this off screen, we both said it doesn't take long to go to the list and see some issues with that. But I mean, should we be taking Cardi B serious?
So here's the thing, and I'll tell you, being a DJ, and remembering that album. I mean, it had some club bangers on there, but it is not deserving of number 16 of all time. Um, I think it's a little disrespectful even to the music that has been made the last 10, 15 years, much less, overall. So,
Right.
uh, and then when you look at number 15,
Yeah,
it's paid in full,
right,
Airbnb and Rakim.
right.
So you
And
mean to tell me that you almost considered putting Cardi B's debut album above Airbnb and Rakim's out, which, by the way, he's my favorite. I probably would just been in an uproar and probably
yeah,
written. I would have probably wrote the editor of Rolling Stone, and which something I've never done. But if that would have happened, I probably would have done that.
we had to
Which
show up
is
to the
crazy.
building. Yeah. Um, yeah, just you're right. I'm looking at the list now. You're right. You got Eric B and Rakim Paid in Full, which is a hip hop iconic classic album. Not only the album cover, and then right after that, Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy. Uh, I'm just, I'm just really thrown by that. Um, I understand Cardi B's not my generation. I get it, and you know, probably some of my dislike for her comes from that. It's generation. I get that. I did see what was that? I think it was on Netflix or maybe Hulu. She did. She like spent a day with David Letterman, and I actually gained a little bit more respect from her just on that. I think what gets clouded is her demeanor, the way she talks, and of course, she comes across as not the most intelligent person. But when you listen to her talk, man, we probably shouldn't judge her like that. But I can't think of any hip hop head who's putting a Cardi B album in any top 200 list anywhere. So I don't
I
understand.
I don't if it would have showed up number 189, I would have probably been like,
Okay.
okay, that's
Yeah.
probably where it needs to be. But number 16, I'm telling you, man, Black Twitter, we were in it, because I'm a part of Black Twitter. We were in an uproar.
Right.
And I won't talk about the whole list, but Illmatic, if I'm not mistaken, it's like number 40.
Let me look. See if I can get there.
That is the craziest thing. Like, that's like in my top 5, top 10.
I would be shocked if Illmatic is in there. Okay, I don't have the full list pulled up, but
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like I have a list up too.
I'd be shocked.
I want to say, yeah, right below. No, well, here's the thing.
Uh,
This is even worse. Dr. Dre, The Chronic was number 40. Raekwon built for Cuban Links was only number 37. Oh man, Illmatic, where was it? It might have been outside the top 40, which is
how is that
crazy.
possible? How is that possible? Nas is easily top 20 on most people's lists. Easily. Probably top 10 on a lot of lists. lyrically wise, longevity, um, the different projects he's worked on, his influence on the culture. Oh God, man.
Okay, number 24. It was still ranked below Cardi B.
Wow.
Number 24. It's probably in my top 5.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is
Okay.
probably.
Here. I'm looking at the full list now. All right. So yeah, Dre's at 40. The Chronic, another
Classic.
generation setting album. They ushered in a new era, for rap, and they've got it sitting at 40.
Yeah, and they put like Lil Wayne, The Drought. Like, I don't even remember that album, The Drought 3. It's number 21. And then Future, number 20. He's another one that, not really deserving. Lil Kim, number 19. Okay, probably top 75. I don't know about that. Mad Villain. Now, I dig Mad Villain. I'm going to be honest with you.
Right.
I'm digging them. It was number 18. It was slept on. You remember
Right.
that Mad Villain album?
Yes, yeah.
Somebody
had to tell me about that. I didn't even realize. I would have never picked it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was dope. And then number 17, Yeezus by Kanye. Then you got Cardi B. And I'm just gonna finish out the list. 15 was Airbnb and Rakim. Number 14 was Supreme Clientele, Ghostface Killer. Number 13 is Dr. Dre 2001, which I feel like The Chronic was a better album, but I'm okay if you're gonna just swap them and put that there. I'm okay with that. Now this one was a little mind-boggling, but I know you're a Pusha T fan. Well, I know your homie is. The
yeah.
Clips, Lord Willing, was number 12. I didn't think it was that good where it deserved to be number 12. What's your thoughts on that real quick?
Oh man, so I'm torn about the Clips. When you listen to the Clips, especially their early albums, you hear the talent. But I quickly got tired of the coke rap, and obviously his brother did too, because gosh, I can't even remember his name now.
Malice.
Malice, that's right. Malice leaves the group because he doesn't want to go that route anymore. And even Pusha T's last album, when it came out this year, the skill set is there. The delivery, but I'm just never been a fan of a whole album of coke rap.
When is he going to evolve? I know
That's what I was hoping he would happen. And just real quick, let me say hello to some people tuning in. Brother T, what's up? Erica, what's up? Glad you're out of Facebook jail. And Renita, how you doing? She says hi, guys. So she's tuning in. So
What's up, everybody? Renita, I'm gonna definitely cop that book. I don't know if y'all talked about that book on any of the episodes, but
oh yeah. No, this is Renita Crawford. I know
okay.
who you're talking about. Yeah. We're gonna we need to hit her.
What's up, Renita?
Right.
What's up, everybody?
So, definitely, yeah. But I'm waiting on him to evolve. I think the rest of the rap world is waiting on him to evolve because we feel like he could be one of the best of his time, and but he's hanging on to that subject matter that I feel like he thinks sells albums for him.
Yeah, and I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
And then
this was that for him to do it. This would have been the album to do it. You lay off, come back. This is where you can kind of grow with your audience, just like Cube, like Cube. Okay, got the t-shirt on. Really like Cube, and you can see if you listen to Cube's albums how he matures over time. He still delivers the gritty rhymes. Doesn't really change his what he draws from. His inspiration is still the same, but some of his viewpoints and just maturity level has come across in his albums as they progress.
LL Cool J is another person I think of. His longevity, how he was able to, right. He's another one I think about. but you kind of finish off the list. You got Drake number 11. I've never really been a big Drake fan, but I could see them putting Drake up there just because he's kind of that Mount Rushmore of today. I think
Right.
people was like you got J. Cole, you got Kendrick Lamar, you got Drake, and everyone was like, who's that fourth person?
Right.
And it's really hard to see who that fourth person. I've seen some lists that's got Nicki Minaj. I've seen others that's got different folks on it. There's just really not a fourth person to at least what I listen to, and again, my top 7 of all time has got J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar in it. So two of the younger
That's fair.
guns,
Right. Right.
but they're in my top 7. And then your top 10, you got The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, super dope.
Right.
Number 9, Low End Theory. Like I could have probably
love
put 2
that.
Tribe albums in the top 10 because I love the first 3. I love them all.
Yeah.
Midnight Marauders and the Instinctive Travels. Then number 8, Enter the Wu-Tang. Number 7, this one kind of caught me off guard. I was like, I didn't understand this one. Missy Elliott, So Addictive. Like it's kind of more pop for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, but it was a good album. But I just don't know top 10 of all time. I'm not. I don't agree with that.
I don't. But I can probably deal with Missy being a little higher up than Cardi, and again it might just be because what age I am. I respect Missy's talent because Missy came on, sounded different. That Timberland production, that Timberland Magoo production was different, and they really matched her up with good production from him. She was able to just really flow and bring out those beats, and
she was dope.
Yeah, it just matched her really well. So she again came on the scene and sort of shook things up to where she had her own specific sound, and she was hot in the clubs, and people, even dudes were, could respect her rhyme skills. So
right,
I can do it, and maybe Cardi did that, and I can admit I don't listen to her, so maybe I can't really give it an honest opinion about where she should be ranked. But the stuff I have heard has been mindless.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of lyrical content there whatsoever. And I guess her last song that she did, she's trying to go a different route because she's got Kanye West and I can't remember who else is on. I want to say someone else is on that song also, but I know Kanye's on there. It might have been J. Cole. It was whoever it is. Like it was more. No, it was. I can't think of them right now. But anyway, I'm still not feeling it. Number 6, Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then number 5, Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. Like all the Kendrick Lamar albums, I would have been okay with any of them being top 5. Here's where they kind of lost me a little bit. Number 4, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back is my number 1 album of all time.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably my number 1 album, period, like of any genre. Like I put it up with songs in the Key of Life with Stevie Wonder. Like it's that good.
Right.
I think it should have been number 1. Number 3, The Blueprint, Jay-Z. It was his best work. It was a really good album. Number 2, Stankonia, Outkast. That's not even my favorite Outkast album.
I was gonna say that's not my favorite Outkast album. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they were really reaching with that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 1.
Well, hold on. Now, of all your Outkast albums, which one is your go-to one?
ATLiens and then Southern
Playlist. Yep.
And heck, maybe a Criminal, then Stankonia.
Right. I kind of feel that same way. I bounce between ATLiens and Southern Playlistic. I just sometimes one's my favorite, the other's not. But to me, they almost feel like a continuation of just more deeper into their style. And I mean, those 2 albums I could play back to back. Like I love them both. So yeah.
It takes me back when Southern Playlistic came out. I remember we were going to Freaknik, and they had did the video for Players Ball, and then the album dropped. And I remember one of my homies, she's like my hip hop sister. She won the album, she won the CD or whatever on a radio station, and she was just telling me about how good the album was. And then that's all everybody was playing at Freaknik during that
Right.
year. That's all
Yeah.
you heard, brother, was
Yeah.
that Outkast album. I mean, it was so dope. And then Goody Mob and all those guys came about.
Right.
But the number one album was Ready to Die by Notorious B.I.G. That was
Okay.
a phenomenal album.
Okay. All
I
right.
would have been okay with that being number 2, number 3, number 4.
Right.
I just that It Takes a Nation to Hold Us Back was just a very special album for hip hop. Like,
It is. Yeah. It is.
it was just mind blowing.
It is. Just like you said, it is. Oh, you talk to like crazy audio heads, listen to all kinds of genres. They will list that album as one of the top albums of any genre of all time. It's right up there with, when they talk about iconic albums, forget the Beatles album.
Yeah, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin.
Pink Floyd gets mentioned, Led Zeppelin gets mentioned, The Clash gets mentioned, which a lot of Michael Jackson's, a lot of Chuck D's influences came from some of that early punk rock stuff, some of the Beatles. He talks about being influenced by the Beatles and influenced by the Clash, which is probably why his album was so unique. And I've read another article where that is Def Jam. That is the number one Def Jam album without question. It is the greatest Def Jam album. And you can ask all the execs have been interviewed about it, and they will say that is the greatest Def Jam album ever made. That Nation's a Million. As I launched them into the stratosphere.
As I was reading those 15 off, with the exception of that just being the wrong Outkast album, you can tell on their committee they had some hip hop heads on there. It wasn't just a bunch of folks that think they know music and said, I'm just gonna throw this list together.
Right.
Just the fact that they had Ready to Die as the number one album shows that there is some credibility there.
Yeah, but who slipped the Cardi B in at 16, right before Eric B and Rakim? That's where
some millennial or some the generation below, just they just threw that in there. It's like, you gotta get Cardi in there,
right?
Yeah, that makes.
Let me ask you this. So I'm looking at the list, and I'm just for some reason I just stopped on number 23, which they got UGK right under. I want to know what your thoughts are on UGK. I know some guys, some rap fans who love UGK, and then I know some rap heads who might have listened to maybe half of one album and didn't really give UGK. They don't even come up in some of their top 20, top 25, 30 lists. But UGK influenced the culture. So I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on UGK.
I love UGK.
Okay.
It's like, so I've told this story before, but when I DJ'd in a club in Augusta, and I kind of tried to play the New York stuff and some of the West Coast stuff, and it says, no, bro, we'll run you up out of here with you. South. So you're gonna have to change your playlist. And UGK and Ghetto Boys and obviously Trick Daddy and some of those guys, I kind of had to 8 Ball and MJG.
Right.
I grew to love, and Tila. I mean, but
ooh boy, you mentioned one that doesn't get talked about at all, and that's Tila. I know of one Tila album. Actually, probably two Tila songs. What was that?
Sure enough.
Yes. Yeah. Wait a minute. Was it? Oh man. Who said back? Give me 50 feet. Was that Tila?
It may have been.
Okay. But whatever the one they kept saying his name over the song. Tila.
Yeah, that was it.
That's Sure Enough. Okay. That was hype. I ain't gonna lie. was hype, but Tila kind of came and went. I don't know. I think he was hot in his area. I think where was he at? Tennessee or something like that. He was hot, but
You had some guys and was Big T on the call? Was Big T on? He could speak to it. You know, you had Crime Boss and
right.
Miss Mike and those guys. And I'm gonna tell you, man, that type of genre music was hot. It was almost like the what you call it, the drill rap of back
Yes.
then.
Oh man,
But
good,
it had a little more
good.
substance.
Yeah, good comparison. You're right. It was drill rap because you have some people who there were some classic hip hop heads who did not like that. Didn't want to hear. But down south, that's what that's what, especially in the club, that's what you wanted to hear.
Yeah,
Man.
no doubt, no doubt. But yeah, I think we kind of touched on that list, and you know, I think we did a little bit of justice and
Right.
went down memory lane. But I'm a huge UGK, Pimp C and Bun B. I thought they were dope. They'll never probably be in my top 50, top 75 MCs because you know I look for a little something different when I look at, because I'm telling you, you know, when you think about it, man, there's been a lot of rappers, man. And the more and more I start thinking about your pick of Tretch, I understand why you went there. Dude was dope, and his wordplay
Thank
and the
you.
things he said was, yeah. I mean, like I said, I give him way more credit than Joe Budden. Way more.
Yeah. Thank you for that, man. And look, I kept trying to say, especially tell a headache. I was like, look, I had to come to this feeling about Tretch. I was not somebody who put Tretch anywhere in a top 20, top 30 list. He was anthem rap. He was, summertime call and answer kind of thing. It was just, you know what I mean? It was just nothing. It was just nothing like outstanding. He went Knox. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know what happened. One day I just, was kind of listening to their popular stuff, and I actually got past the chorus part, started listening to what he was saying, and kind of went back, played it again, and I was like, wait a minute, this dude can rap. And then I started Googling something what other rappers have said about him, and there's a lot of respect out here for him in the industry and for his delivery. And then so that kind of opened my eyes to it, man. I kind of sleeping on his skill set. So, and then before we get off the list, I'm going to ask you about Kanye, because that's a probably an ongoing debate discussion for another music topic. But there's good Kanye and there's bad Kanye. That's what people say. Everything up to 808. I'm trying to think what came out. 808 or Graduation. What somewhere around there. That's where it stopped for me. Once he got, and it probably started happening on 808 because he got just different there. But I liked it. I like what he was doing with it. But his earliest, I love Late Registration. That's probably my favorite Kanye CD. They got that on the list at 41. They got that on the list at 41. I love Late Registration, man. I still can listen to Late Registration now, just chill to it, and just, man, his lyrics, topics are good. It ain't coke rap. They called him kind of like him, Lupe, some others like backpack rap. But Kanye was like, yeah, I was never like he just pretty much said he wasn't a backpack rapper, although that's the genre he kind of defined. But I love the fact that he could talk about, a scenario that happens on the streets. He could talk about a scenario that happens in a relationship. He can talk about a scenario that might happen between him and his mother or father figure. You know what I mean? Like the guy could be really vulnerable on any point in time in a lyric on the CD. He can talk about his relationship with God and just all on the CD and make you like it. You know, so I really love Late Registration. I probably would have had it a little higher than 40, but I'm not gonna argue 41.
I would have switched. I would have switched it that one with My Beautiful Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah,
I would have
yeah,
switched it too.
yeah.
I'm with you.
Okay, all right, well, cool.
But here's the thing. This is me on Kanye. Like I would probably have Kanye higher on my producers list for him than
Oh yeah,
rappers. Like he is a underrated. He was a really good producer.
right.
He's a good. He was. I mean, he was a great rapper too, but probably even better producer. Like the stuff he produced for himself and some of the stuff he produced for others.
Yes,
I put him up there with Q-Tip. I mean, probably top 15, top 20 producer of all time.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean
definitely.
that's. I mean, he was.
Multiple, multi-talented. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Dude
yeah,
got a
yeah.
you got an ear for the music. It's fun. I haven't seen that documentary that they made up for him, but that early footage of him. I saw that one clip where he goes into the executive office and he's basically giving her that rap. They all fall down. He's going through it, and he's like going through some of those catchy lines that he dropped in there, and the executive's just like, nah, can't go with that, or just walks out. And he's like, are you listening? And that is like one of his put me on the map, you know, kind of I'm different hits, you know, with the and then the video that absolutely helped that was Stacey dashing that joint, just bouncing around.
So what I'm gonna tell you is he knew what he was doing. Kanye said, "I'd rather be rich than to be dope or whatever," and he sold himself out and just started doing all that crazy stuff. And
Right.
he started catering to a different crowd and just started doing different things and said, "I'd rather be rich. I'm
Yeah.
gonna sell out, and this is what I'm gonna do," and that's
Yeah.
what he did.
Man, well, I like that, and that helps us kind of transition over just some of the other things that we talk about on the show here, man. Is just like that mental health awareness or self awareness, being able to have that room to be who you are. We talked about it on last week's show, man. We were talking about being vulnerable, having that. Everyone's kind of afraid to expose themselves, and Kanye, has done that over and over again. Maybe not always in the most healthiest way, but at least he's gotten people to talk about it. I mean, it's sad that sometimes we have to talk about Kanye's mental state, but sometimes that helps us to be more aware of our own. And so in that case, we could say that's definitely a plus. Headache. He may not. I haven't gotten a message from him. He may not be able to join us tonight, but he was gonna definitely. We wanted to dive into P Valley. Now, Ron, I don't know if you watch it or not. Have you been watching it?
No, I've never
Okay.
watched the show, but I could say just from what I see on social media,
Right.
it's definitely an iconic show, and it's a lot going. It's a lot. It's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I would assume it's toxic. Is it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and obviously that is a big draw.
Right.
Um,
Right. Uh,
but what I will say, especially since Shelfspace is definitely diving into that show, I plan on uh, I'm a binge watch.
okay.
You know, the show that I've been watching lately has been Abbott Elementary.
Oh yeah.
Um, and, I'm real big on comedy. Once I found out the same people that wrote The Office and Superstore, when I found out that was them, I says, "Oh yeah, funny," and it
Wait a
is.
minute. Wait a minute. You're an Office fan?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah,
Man, yeah, that was great. That's a great show. So, like, great writing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So,
and yeah, and so I'm gonna get into it because I feel
okay.
like I need to because especially if this is something that we talk about on the show, but I have not. I've almost tried to avoid it,
Right.
but out, hey, this is something that we do on the show. I said, let me get into it. Let me start watching it.
Man, I understand that because like if you watch the trailers, a lot of people may have gotten turned off by that because it looks like, I'm not gonna say that's not what it is. 'Cause it is what it is, but it might look um, somewhat mindless or degrading because it's based around a strip club, and that's not necessarily an environment that um, you may want to visit every week or we try to avoid. But it is based around a strip club. But that's just the front door. When you actually walk in and you go into the show and for a minute forget really what's connecting all these characters, you really start to see some things in the show that are
The strip club is called the Pink. Is it called the Pink?
it is called the Pink. It's called the Pank because they're in Mississippi. It is called the Pank.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the Pink. So this is the second season. So in the first season, it really just does a lot of story development and plot development around the I think it's a fictitious town called Chucalissa, Mississippi. So Deep South, think David Banner, Tila, all that, that kind of grittiness. They like that sound. There's a burgeoning rap career character called Lil Murder.
I've seen his name.
Yeah. He's one of the main characters. There's the man or the woman who owns the Pink, or who's trying to keep it alive. Basically, the manager, Uncle Clifford, who is openly gay and doesn't pretty much wants to be referred to as a woman. Then you've got the strippers involved.
That's the one. That's the one with the long hair and the mustache.
The long hair and the mustache. That's right. Oh man, yeah. So you ain't fooling nobody with that. And so you got that, and then you got the political side of it. So the people in the town who were jockeying for political power to basically bring a casino there, and one of the main strippers, Mercedes, her mother is a preacher, so you got that dynamic going on. And so all of these characters, and even the different strippers they highlight, they focus on their background, where they came up, what led them to that. And this second season has been a lot of character development where they take one show and just tell you all about that character. They're building up these things. So when you get into it, and once you get past that and you actually get into it, the writing is really good. I think there's been some controversy because there's a lot of looks like he's joined us. A lot of sexuality in the show because it is in a strip club, but there's a lot of homosexuality in the show.
Gotcha.
So let me bring him in. He's right on time. Yes, the grand entrance. Gotcha. I had a little bit of an echo.
What up?
He didn't even go say why he late. I think he was cooking them. Went to pick up some lemon pepper wings, fried hard from his little spot. What'd you get? An 8-piece? I hope it's an 8-piece. I hope he ain't late for a 6-piece.
Man, I ain't go to bed at 3 o'clock. Why y'all ain't ring no flipping phone?
Man, you told me text you. I text you.
Ring
I hit you. I hit
flipping phone.
I hit you up in the message joint. You said get in the studio early. Talk about he ain't go to bed till 3 o'clock. We need to hear why. We need to hear why.
You echoing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Didn't go to bed till 3 o'clock. Come on, man. What you doing? Playing FIFA?
Nah, I had some bills I had to go pay. They had to be paid today.
All right. Well, we'll let you handle that business, that financial business. You clear for that. All right. So we're gonna let you introduce yourself, but you here right on time because we just got onto PVAC, and I know you've got some comments, some input from the last couple of shows. So, but go ahead and introduce yourself to the fam.
Johnny Come Lately, 1/3 of the most popping podcasts on the face of this flipping earth. Headache Mitchell. I do apologize for being late. I did have some personal things to take care of. That's neither here nor there. I'm here now. Let's get it cracking.
All right, so I was explaining to Wild West a little bit about PVAC. So it's something that he hasn't watched. He said kind of avoiding it. I know there are some who've been hesitant to watch it because if you look at the trailers, you know, it's kind of maybe a little misleading, but it's not. It is what it's about. But it goes a lot deeper than that. And it's probably one of the first shows that has really gone into more emotional and relationship-wise, toxic events that happen, people's background and how that affects them, not only in their relationships, but in their day-to-day lives. And they really spend a lot of time on character development and showing that and how that manifests itself in their relationships with whether it's a friend or a lover. Would you agree? Or what's your take?
That's what it is.
All right. So we good with that. Now, I was trying to bring Ron up to speed on some of the characters and where we are now. So the really striking things that have happened in this season, and I don't want to give away too many spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen this week's episode. But
we're probably going to wind up getting into this week's episode. So if you're not into spoilers, you may want to go ahead and click off now because it's going to be an important part of the conversation.
Good morning.
Especially with the shirt that I'm wearing.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, tell us about the shirt you're wearing now. What you got?
The shirt that I've chosen tonight is pretty much the same thing that goes on in everyone's life. When you ask how people are doing, they fake it and claim that they're okay. Even when they're broken, they still seem to muster up the words, I'm okay, even when they are at their absolute worst. There's a piece of art that I'm getting ready to shoot behind this shirt, the reason why I bought it. It's a broken tricycle, centered around a broken tricycle, which is a gift that's being given. It represents ourselves, but the tricycle is broken. We're handing the tricycle over to somebody else, but we're holding it with a death grip and not letting it go, which is basically that broken piece of ourselves that we have, that we want to give to somebody, but we still want the right to it. Kind of along the lines of being vulnerable.
It's a dope shirt.
Thank you.
So you refer to that as being broken. Is that your entry into being vulnerable? Saying that we can be vulnerable, we need to admit we're broken.
Being comfortable with sharing the broken pieces of our lives.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, man, with that, it's really gonna be really hard to not talk about last week's or this week's episode. So those who haven't seen it may want to check out. But so what's led up to this main character arc right now is Teak, and if y'all don't know who Teak is, if you're watching, you know what Teak is. So Lil Murder has the burgeoning rap career. He spent some time in jail. Teak is his guy from jail, somebody he's known for a while, and that is also someone he has been intimate with in jail, outside of jail. They are. Raymond said last week, it was hard for me to really see it that way until this week's episode, but they really are in love with each other. Definitely Teak loves this guy, and I don't know any other way to say. He just really does love Murder, and he's been vulnerable with him, and you can kind of see it develop. One of the things that he deals with, though, that you see building, the actor, man, I can't even look his name up. Guy is amazing because he comes out of jail, and as the episodes progress, you can just see it on his face, his reactions, not just in the script that he's reading, but I mean, he really shows on his face like he's having a tough time acclimating to being outside of jail, and almost he's such a good actor. You can almost see his thoughts. The guy, it's written on his face when the news comes on. He's struggling with things that are happening in society. He's struggling with just the changes that have happened since he's been in jail, and he is not acclimating at all. That dude has just done it. He did an amazing job. Unfortunately, again, he kills himself in this past episode, but you can see it, and you can see it happening. And I want to tell you, when I'm watching it, when he goes back to his old childhood home, and he goes through that, you can see the torment on him. And I said, man, this dude, he's going to end up killing himself. It just came to my mind, like, he can't process it. He's going to end up killing himself. And then that is what happens. But there's some really good moments between him and Lil Murder where they are able to be vulnerable and really talk like you wouldn't think two guys can talk. And I'm not just talking about just the sexual part. I'm talking about just sharing like some fears and anxiety with each other. And Murder's trying to encourage it, man. So what did you see on that, Headache?
His name is John Clarence Stewart. He is a professional actor. He is a professional actor. Like I sent you earlier, when it started, when he walked in the house, that song I sent you by Logic, Live to Die, it kind of speaks upon the same thing about being in so much turmoil that you really don't want to be here anymore, that you figure that life is the problem and death is the solution. I didn't see him actually killing himself, and I guess that was because I was hoping, which is the worst thing for me to have, is to have hope. But I was hoping for the better, and while they were in there talking in the car, it just got darker and darker to where it had to end that way. You could see the passion on Lil Murder's face, on John Alphonse Nicholson's face. And he really carried that character to another level during that scene, where you want the very best for your boy, but all hope is lost. You can't want it as much as you can't want it more for them if they don't want it at all. And you could see that on his face where he was begging him not to do it. And it wound up happening.
Right.
So, like I said, I didn't see it coming because of blind hope. And I wanted better for Big T with the demons that he was dealing with. But the way that they brought the character forward and how they brought up the time in solitary confinement and how he broke it down that wasn't the first time.
Right.
It made the little boy that was in the closet, it made it so surreal. It just brought everything full circle.
Yeah. You saw that. Yeah, you saw that. When probably some episodes before, people were kind of looking at Teak like, come on, man, how can you, this, that, and what? But yes, this week's episode, when he goes back to his childhood home and he sees himself in the closet, bleeding, scared, and Murder walks up and is like, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Man, this used to be my home." And of course, Murder's just, this ain't, let it go. Murder's already like, just let it go. Move on. Just at your home. We're gonna do better. Murder's got hope. Murder sees light at the end of the tunnel with his rap career. And he's like, I'm taking everybody with me, especially you. my guy, you know. Um, but Teak, man, is he never dealt with those demons. They have grown and gotten bigger. Um, his fears just consumed him, and you can see when he came out of that house where he was just tormented. Like, what am I going to do? There's no. And he said it to him. There's no place for me here. He's probably felt like that. Maybe who knows? All his life, it almost feels like maybe that little boy in the closet, that he always saw in the closet bleeding, just didn't have a place here. Maybe it was never made to feel like he should be here, and which is why you end up in jail, which is why you compromise your values and commit crimes and you, you, you know living with no hope. And when he does get out of jail, and like you said, murder's trying to help him see what he sees. Um, Man, that man cannot get past his demons. Can't do it.
It's kind of capped off the perfect day to die, because everything was going great. He had just bought him that car, put him on the platform. He was talking about going back out on the road, and I don't know if him killing himself was the worst part of that episode. To me, what was probably level of the tragedy was when they were sitting there eating the wings, and T just wanted to be there with him. But Lord Murder, you stringing him along, and then when you reach across the table to grab his hand, he has to fight with himself in order to pull his hand back. When I know there's nothing here. There's nothing here for me to actually live for. That everything that I want, everything has been taken away from me, and I felt bad, really bad for him, sitting there in that sitting in that restaurant. Arm and Hammer, they have a line that says something about holding your hand felt like a lie, and I'm not a hand holder physically. To me, that's really intimate. That's really, really intimate, and it is extremely hard for me to hold hands. Um, so with that one, when he reached across the table, I know you're getting ready to feed me a lot. You can't help it.
Yeah.
And I think back on the times with some of the girls that I've held their hands, and understanding it in my later years, how intimate holding hands is. Holding hands is probably one of the most secure things that you could give a person. Your word is attached to a handshake, which I can do, which I do push black men to do, is to shake hands instead of dapping. But holding your woman's hand, that gives her everything. It gives her life. It gives her hope. It lets her know that everything is going to be all right. And that's what is extremely intimate to me about holding hands, and why it's difficult for me to hold hands. I will hug you all day long, walking around holding hands and all the rest of that stuff. I am dead honest. That is one of the most hardest things for me to do.
So walk around and hold hands.
Holding hands. It's and see, that's the thing, is the little things that seem mundane to other people, but if you don't have their backstory, it kind of seems retarded.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Big T. Until now, you knew he had a backstory, and it comes to this.
Right.
Or you lock yourself into this closet to protect yourself from being vulnerable. Because once you give away your true self, how do you ever get it back?
But okay. Well, I think when you are giving away your true self, is the way you put it, and being open and vulnerable, you're not looking to get yourself back. You're actually looking for what he was looking for, and that's just a safe place. Like he was looking for a safe place, and he thought murder was going to be his safe place, and murder thought he was giving him that safe place by that giving him that hope of security. We're gonna have this, and here's the car. We're gonna have a better house. We're gonna have this. But what Teak wanted though was a safe place to feel like, hey, I belong, a place I can express my feelings for you, and you know, and it not be rejected. But pretty much him going with Clifford, when that conversation at the table is him rejecting him. You know, and it was just it was a good scene, but it was a weird scene because he even tells him, like when the waitress flirts with him a little bit, and he tells him like, you can do whatever you want. Like honestly, like him hooking up with the waitress was something that he might be thinking of. It was just a really weird, confusing scene. Again, probably leads even more to Teak not feeling like he belonged anywhere. Like he couldn't even make a choice of what he wanted in his life almost.
Okay, so was it weird, or is it from a standpoint, I have to give you something? Because I kind of know your story, but I don't. So I have to give you something. I have to dangle
Right.
this fake carrot. I have to dangle it in front of your face to keep you going, because if I don't, me knowing you better than anybody else knows you, I know that you're going to stop, and I know that you're going to give up, and I can't afford that.
Yeah. Almost as if like at some point in time in the past they've used women before just for a release. Like it was almost like, Kim that she flirted with, like you can do, you can do what you want, that's what you want. I was almost like they've done it before, like it's just a release. I
But
just
but but it's kind of like you're mocking me, because
yeah.
you know more than anybody on the face of this earth. You know what it is that I want. What would bring me some sort of solace? What would bring me back from over the edge? And then I still muster up the strength to ask you about Uncle Clifford, to ask you what is it about him, or excuse
Yeah.
me, about her, and we
Right.
sit here, and I have nothing else to give you. I have given you everything, and like that child, it's not enough. I am not enough. So that's what made that table scene. It made it grueling, and it made it gritty. Because I've had to look back in my own past on the not so nice portion of how I've done girls, when the only thing they've done is the same thing that he has asked, and that's just to do right. Treat me right. Why am I not enough? Why do you need more? What is it about me that isn't enough? And those conversations, those things are gritty and painful to have. And be honest.
I've heard those conversations before. That why am I not enough conversation. I just think I think that's sort of misleading. It's not you aren't enough. I don't think that's ever been. Uh, I don't think that should ever be anybody's problem in a way. I'm not enough. Um, you just may not be what they really want. It's not that you're not enough. You're enough for the right person. Yeah, you're absolutely enough. Um, and I don't blame Murder for pushing Teak to kill himself, but Murder did not Murder could not just let him down or let him go. And I think Murder felt beholden to him, and he thought setting him up with material things was going to be enough. Not that Teak wasn't enough for him, it just that's not what he wanted. Not really sure if Murder knows what he wants. I'm just not sure. Um, it's kind of odd that he liked Teak, but he likes Clifford, who is much more feminine. You know what I mean? I don't, it's just confusing. And I mean, I don't understand. I can't speak to that lifestyle, so I don't understand it. But I think what he was trying to do was not hurt his feelings.
Having friends in that lifestyle, they kind of explained it to me, to where you kind of have like the best of both worlds, where you have a man, but you have a woman, but it's more along the lines about the person and not the gender. So, because Uncle Clifford dresses like a woman, I can understand why it's confusing. Why not just go out and get a natural born woman? But that's not the thing. It's kind of like we all like what we like, and it's really difficult to explain and get people to understand why we do like the things that we like. And because, I mean, people generally, they listen from a defensive standpoint. I guess that's why I read so much and why I love reading novels. It's because it forces me to listen to somebody else's story from an aspect of looking to understand.
Mm.
But it's like I said, it's difficult to actually get people to understand that it's not about the man or the woman, it's about the person. And it's kind of the same thing that's going on with Farrah, her and Mercedes,
Mm-hmm.
where it's something about you as a woman. I've kept these feelings suppressed for so long, to where this Mercedes experience is larger than life. And in that scene that they had, it does bring up the question of about cheating. That if your woman sleeps with your concubine behind your back, is that cheating?
Yeah. And you having a concubine is cheating.
But
So,
we've come up with an agreement.
yeah.
And from the way I was taught about threesomes, is that the woman does control the whole entire situation.
Wait. Somebody taught you about threesomes?
Yes.
There was a class about that.
Yes. And the reason why there had to be a class about this, that I got from my mentor, is because what happened always happens. Where the woman, in order for it to go flow well, the woman is in charge. The woman gets to pick the woman. She gets to put the pieces in place. She gets to dictate what goes on. The third woman is supposed to be the helper. She does not get the most intimate portions of you. She is just there as a helper. But as it always goes, someone always they step outside the bounds. Even if you have this thing in place, someone always steps outside the bounds.
Mm. I didn't know there was a class on that. So
It's not really class, it's like unwritten rules. Class was a bad word. But my mentor, he claims that he can teach people how to have threesomes and for it to be successful. And the things that he's put out there, I mean, there has to be some unwritten rules that has to be followed. And apparently, in that scene, with over the last couple of episodes, this is what always happens: that somebody always wants more.
Well, I think first of all, you got to be open to that to even invite it in. And then she didn't ask for that because the wife didn't ask for that. That was something he wanted to do. And then, but he also, he didn't talk to her about her own. This episode shows her own feelings and how she felt. And so, again, another somewhat confusing scene there because I'm not sure where Mercedes sits on that. And I'm not, it was she doing it for the money, what she didn't get in the end? Or is that something she enjoyed? It was weird.
It's a little bit of one, it's a lot of the other. It's a little bit about the enjoyment and about being vulnerable and doing something that you don't normally do, and you allowing another woman full control of your body and your sexual emotions.
Mm.
And then there's the money aspect behind it. She's still a businesswoman at the end of the day,
Right.
regardless. But the thing that Farrah pulled about with the money, when she left it on the side of the bed, that was a woman thing with the, you may have his body, everything else. I'm still running the show. The only thing that you will ever be, you will always be a strip crow. That's it.
Yeah.
And then Coach confirmed it as he was kicking her out.
Yeah, but
That's the
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Wes.
that's crazy. I know about all these characters. I never watched it. The coach is supposed to be like extremely wealthy,
Yes.
very wealthy coach.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she goes to him basically to make a little more bank because she's not getting in the club. You know, the new blood in the club is really blowing up. Like Whisper is like just Whisper took crown in my opinion. So she's got clients. You know, she was really the queen of the paint. So she goes and sets up a situation where she goes to his house, does private stuff for him, gets paid for it. Now his wife gets involved in the whole thing, and actually they have some encounters. And up until this point, it's like you don't think Mercedes is even leaning that way, but then this happens. So another confusing scene, sexual scene. That just goes to show I think when you go into that, employ that kind of relationship, you might say there are rules, but there are no rules.
There's always rules.
No, you saw it on the screen. No rules.
That's what I just, but that's what I was just saying.
Once somebody does something there that the other doesn't like, all of a sudden everything falls apart.
Okay, but isn't that what I was just saying? Is there are rules in place, there are unwritten rules that are in place, and someone always breaks the rules. Just because people break the rules, that does not mean that there are no rules.
Look, we've talked about this on the show before. The movie Indecent Proposal. Set of rules.
That was a set of rules.
Money's going to exchange. But when it comes down to it, feelings are a little different. When the act is going on, all of a sudden, rules change. All of a sudden, I'm not okay with it. I see the same thing happening in that scene from P-Valley where Coach is fine with his wife being involved and looking at it, and she's fine being involved. And all of a sudden, when it's not what Coach thought he was going to like, rules change.
Okay, but we've also talked about this thing with men and cheating. It's not about the physical aspect of having sex with someone else. It's the same thing with Coach. Coach's ego was broken. It wasn't bruised, it was broken. Because here it is, I got to make this shake, this Viagra shake, and I'm having trouble pleasing one woman, but now I'm just getting ready to be greedy because I can, and I'm getting ready to invite another woman in here. And you wasn't supposed to do this. You were supposed to play your role. Which is why when she said that you never asked me about me, and it came up with the art. Where how Mercedes saw her as an artist, And coach, your couch. You just here. You here spending my money. That's all that you're here for. You are a look. Until she stood up for herself. Finally, she got the gumption to where she took something that Mercedes gave her and she gave her strength and she finally stood up for herself.
Which goes to show.
But it takes you breaking the rules in order to do this.
No, Coach didn't have the power that he thought he had. Point blank, he didn't have the power he thought he had.
Who does?
We look. We've said this a lot. You can't make somebody do something. You can't. You know, I've kind of talked to you before about you talking about saving somebody, you or teaching somebody. You're not gonna. That's not going to happen unless they want to receive it. And once she decided that I want a piece of this that I can control, that I have, and she tried it and he reacted the way he did, it was over.
It's a wrap.
It's over.
My thing is not about fixing people, but there are certain roads that people really don't want to travel down. And clearly, what was at the end of this road for Coach? Coach shouldn't have been on that road in the first place. Because you're playing a game, with something that you're not. The only thing that you are is money. Outside of this money, right, I wouldn't be here.
But he had the illusion that he was in control. He had this thought that he was in control, and he really not. He really is not.
Okay, and the light skinned John, she playing the same game. She's playing the same exact game, where you think that you're in control, and you're not.
Oh, you talking about homegirl, Haley?
Haley, yes,
Haley. The one that's trying to the one that actually owns the club. I got you. Yeah,
and you could see the switch of the power dynamic when he thought he had a false sense of control, when he reached up to choke her, and she pulled his hand down and moved it completely out of the way, and started choking him.
All right. Well, now, okay. So now we're talking about that dynamic. So we're off of Mercedes and Coach. Okay, we want to go to Dre and Hallie and kind of put Ron in the picture that Hallie now owns the pink. She shows up in season 1. She's kind of the mysterious one, dances for a little while, but then trades in the stilettos for some business shoes and actually takes control over the pink through some at an auction. Basically, is what happened. Dre is the one kind of in that opens you up to the political storyline in the movie. He's running for mayor. He's the businessman. He's a resident, moved away, did some things, married to a woman that, has money, well off. But his character arc, you can see him kind of going through what a lot of men go through. And that is he's in a relationship where he's not the major breadwinner. He feels emasculated, and she does emasculate him. But
what
he's
was that?
trying to.
What was that? No. What was that moving forward in the camera? What was that?
I'm saying that I'm saying he feels emasculated, but I'm also saying she does do it. He has it's not just he feels it. You can see in the relationship it's happening. It is. So nothing. No, look, listen, and nothing beyond that. So I'm just saying. So he is trying to not only this is a personal thing for him, a personal vendetta to prove that he is a man and he can control things and he can make right decisions. There's a lot that happens with him, but basically the reason he falls prey to Haley is because she plays to that. She gives him like you got the power. She feeds that ego to him, feeds his ego, and dude again can't pull away. And that's what happens a lot of times when that ego is actually hurt. You try to feed it with something, and if somebody can see that, they can manipulate you. without you knowing it. That's what's happening to him.
The thing is that she's feeding him is that she made a power play with the meeting that they attempted to lock her out and she got her way in. And when he got back home, she was already in his house waiting on him. He started talking about power, and she in turn told him that he always had the power. What do you want me to do? So he told her to take her dress off. She took her dress off. Crawl to me. Crawl. Yeah, crawl. She crawled to him. She kept asking him, what do you want to do? Until she finally, she saw her move. And it was so slick that the average person didn't see it coming. But she wound up throwing him on the bed and taking back the power that she's always had. And he doesn't even see it.
Well,
So
yeah,
that's the crazy portion behind it.
He's not going to see. He's not mentally strong enough or emotionally strong enough to stick to his agenda, and that is to broker that deal to bring that casino there. That's really what he's trying to do, and he's trying to make money off of that. And I guess he ascribes power to that, but he's not mentally strong because I feel maybe he's been beaten up so long with married to his wife, and then catches her cheating, and he's in a place where it may not look like it, but his self-esteem is extremely low. And for him to exhibit some type of power over somebody makes him feel better. It gives him immediate an immediate feeling of control and power, and makes him feel better. But I guarantee you, next episode, if he wakes up after that happens, he's going to regret it. Men get caught up in that a lot. Women can use that against them. I mean, we can even do even our next episode. We talk about emasculation because it does happen, and it is a weapon, unfortunately, that is used in toxic relationships. It's a non-physical way to break down a man, and it does happen. And if he's not confident in himself, it'll get to him.
No, the reason I ask is because when you got a little bit animated when you was explaining the situation and you sat up and you did one of them numbers, that's what got me, and I want to know what. Because those are the little cues. Those are the little cues that we use to gaslight situations.
No, what I wanted to do was I didn't want ladies who are watching to think I'm just beating up on the man, or I want men that are watching to think I'm beating. Let me get that right. I don't want the men watching thinking I'm beating up on the man, or ladies watching I'm beating up on the lady. I'm trying to assign it to him equally. Like, he is being emasculated in that relationship, and she is doing it. But again, what we talk about is what you receive in a relationship, okay? And how you receive it, that's on you. That is on you. I am going to say this, that we're in control of ourselves. Coach's wife was in control of what she wanted to do, okay? Mercedes was in control of what she wanted to do. You want to be in that situation or you don't. Whatever happens, it's how you receive it and respond to it. That is all your control. That's all under your control. Okay? And so that's all I'm saying is with Dre and his wife, and if any men out there are watching and they feel emasculated in their relationship, yes, it could be happening to you, but it also is up to you on how you respond to it and how you deal with it. You can work through that. Okay, that's all I was trying to say.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm just saying it's got to start with you recognizing that I can control my side of it and my response and how I take it, how I take it in. You know, I mean, I've had to work on it from, I'm not just saying it's easy because I'm saying it from, my experience too. Like, I've had to learn how to not take things as an attack, whether it's with me and Shimmy or with me and a coworker or me and a family member saying something. And I'm like, like what? You know what I mean? Taking it as an attack, because I may not be confident in my stance, and that happens. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying, Wes, give me a comment here. I mean, I'm just talking about how it's up to us on how to receive things and then respond to them. It is up to us.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I'm just, I'm still laughing at, you came towards the camera and I didn't think anything of it, but it sure got a rise out of headache.
It hit him. Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
It's not that got
right.
rise. It's not that it got a rise out of me. It's those little cues.
Yeah.
If we're gonna talk vulnerable,
Yeah.
it's the little like that people catch on to that we don't think that people catch on to. So that's all that I brought it up to. I mean, why I brought it up. It wasn't a rise out of me. I was asking, what is it if we're gonna all up in the video, all up on the
Damn.
and this it comes across a certain way. People look to be vulnerable, and if man is
right.
being emasculated, yeah, she doing this to you, bro. It transfers.
Okay.
It gives a different message with people with being a person sore place to fall. So it's not that it got a rise out of me or that it's set me off. Like I said, I'm cool. It's just that sometimes I ask, is it about, so I can get some clarity along with it as well too. Because we say things and then we do things, and then sometimes the two don't match up. So that's what it is.
Okay, gotcha.
But it was the way. Wrong door. It was the way you was like, what was that?
Exactly. What's that? When you ooh, she hugging you, bro. Ooh. One of those.
Right.
And that's all that is.
Yeah. No. Now, I will agree with you there that probably and we probably all have done it in our attempt to give our homeboy some advice. We don't even recognize, the proper way to respond to that, and we've given bad advice. We've given that we've added to the emasculation. You know what I'm saying? When someone has come to you and tried to be vulnerable, your boy has tried to be vulnerable, like, hey, this is what's going on. What? You let her do that? And you this and you that? Man, come on, man.
It's even how sometimes you could be being vulnerable or something that's got you choked up.
Yeah.
One would be like, what are you crying for?
Oh yeah.
Like that. Like, why are you crying?
Right. Because it's not something culturally that we were like we're taught that's okay, and just rolls right back to Teek's character, man. He's tormented because what he's feeling and what he's going through was not okay. It's not okay to express that, and so yeah, man, you're right. You look when you can be vulnerable, and we had this conversation last week. You can be vulnerable with your significant. You should be in a safe place. You should be able to cry.
You should be.
You know what I mean?
Be.
Like no. I do. Look, Look, I'll be vulnerable with it. I cry. Like there are certain movies. I don't care how many times I watch it.
Rudy,
I'm gonna cry.
Rudy.
I'm gonna cry. No, I don't cry on Rudy. I mean, I might get a little. I get a little choked up, but I don't cry on Rudy. I mean, I like that. I don't cry on Rudy.
See, you
But I'm
doing
gonna
it
tell you.
now. You're doing it
No, I'm
right
just
now.
telling you.
You're doing it right now.
No, I'm not.
I don't do
I'm just telling
Rudy.
you what
I
you
don't do Rudy. Look at your punk self. You
Look,
over Rudy.
I didn't say that. See, you interpreted that from me. All I said was I don't cry on Rudy, but I get a little, I get a little, you know what I'm saying? But I do cry every time I watch Simon Birch, and every time I watch It's Time to Kill when Jake McGann stands up and gives his summation. I mean every time. And so me and Shimmy could be sitting there watching it, and I'll get quiet, but she look over there, tear coming out. It's just the way it's the way it is. But it's you should be able to do that, express that emotion, and then as you get more comfortable with
that
that,
should be a
open up.
safe haven, a safe space for you. You should be
Right.
able to. But
Right.
unfortunately, some of us aren't given that opportunity. It's
Mhm.
like, what? Are you crying?
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah.
It is. It is tough, man. You are right. Like now, Ron, I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you've lost a parent, right, Ron?
Yeah, I lost my dad in September, last year.
That's right. So I just wanted to make sure that. So, oh yeah, absolutely. So my mother passed back in '07. Of course, my kids were young. My kids were young, but I cried a lot, But I really, really tried not to cry in front of them. And so when there were times when I would become like really emotional, I would just like go to the bathroom or um, you know go to the room, that kind of thing, because I didn't want them to see me upset. But that was not how I should have been operating. I should have allowed them to see how much it hurt me and how much she meant to me and talk about it and to talk. I should have done that and I didn't. And so I'm moving forward, understanding that's what I'm talking about. Like especially our significant and our kids, they need to see how to express emotions rather than, man, I can't let nobody know I'm feeling this way, and then they go and isolate themselves, and then who knows, what happens, or they become more tormented with that. So that's just an example of it. And I think had I done, and I've just been more open with how how I'm feeling emotionally. What I didn't want to do was make everybody else sad, but I just should have been more open with how I was feeling emotionally. Then I think it would have been better, healthier for them, to
Right.
see that and then express to me how they might be feeling,
I don't know. For me, um, my boy died. I lost peace upon him a couple of years ago. Normally, I don't cry at funerals. That's an Islamic thing because we feel that crying it burdens the soul. So you accept it as the gift of life. There's a gift of death. But standing there looking at him, I kind of got choked up, and then I had to bring myself back into the moment that this man has his own things that he has to deal with. And I mean, I was fortunate enough to have him for as long as I had him in my life, and for the relationship that we had. I think more my crying was that I was still angry with him because of how he died. Because I did ask myself, what is this about? Um, doing a real time analysis on my feelings. And I was mad because I mean, you this could have been prevented. There's things that could have been done. He died from an ulcer, and he tried to cure it with like Pepto Bismol, that nature. First went to the doctor. lessening his level of stress, talking, picking up the phone and calling one of us or something. But he had his own thing going on, and that's where my emotions got wrapped up in it. Is that I was furious.
Mhm.
I took it personal because I felt like, I mean, you could have up the phone call me, summon, um, but to just go out like this, and then you a young man like this, and we supposed to be getting to know each other's kids, um, planning trips with a whole crew, where the whole university gets together, something, and then we lose you to something like this, and I was really angry behind it. But I mean, and then I had to turn back around and look at it. Was being selfish as well too, taking it back to the scene with Big T. You got two people that's being selfish at this point. One wants to leave, one wants to hold you.
Good. Good.
I have a different mindset when it comes to that kind of stuff. I think when it's your time, it's your time. Like there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Like
I'm in full
like
agreement.
like my dad. I could say, hey, he could have eaten better. He could have taken care of himself. He could have went to the doctor.
Hmm.
I just feel like it was just his time, even though he
Hmm.
was relatively young. I'm of a firm belief because I remember us, and here's and I think about this all the time. I was at a pool party, it was my senior year, and some of the homies from the GHHS they threw me in the pool. Didn't know I couldn't swim. They said he can't swim, and I
Wow.
remember going into the pool, and I was throwing up purple stuff, and I probably should have died, but it wasn't my time
Right.
because obviously I had a lot to share with the world. I just feel like when it's your time, there's really not anything you can do. But that's my thinking. Everybody, think they can change their fate.
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that you can't.
Yeah. Yeah. I read that. I read something like that the other day, man. Is your fate is set. It's set. Now, what you do between now and then is that you can control. But yeah, yeah. Sort of, it's set. I do believe that. Um, I don't know, man. I think we can do a lot of things to. Well, no, you're right. You can't predict when and where it's going to be your time. You can only like live day to day.
But
You could
but
do
but what you do, but what you do, between the start and finish,
right.
you can control that, but you can't
Yes.
control. Yeah,
Yeah.
The contributing factors that lead to demise.
Yeah. I mean, you could do.
And that's
Let me tell you something. You do all of that too, but you don't know. Like you heard people, who perfectly healthy jog all the time, and then just drop. So you know, it's it's a strange likelihood of that happening. Maybe it's not, but you just don't know. Honestly, all we really have is the right now. Um, I read an article this week. I told you I was reading a lot of things about like balancing things in your life and Zen and all those things. And I was reading an article with some excerpts from a writer and philosopher, Alan Watts, and he talked
oh
about how
my man, my
okay,
man,
okay,
my
you know,
man.
he talked about something that really struck me. But he talked about how man really like we live 5, 10 years in the future. Like we're always thinking about, I got to get this so that, you know, 5, 10 years down the road, I'm good. This is where I want to get to. And I'm reaching for that. I'm reaching for that. I'm reaching for that. And we don't live in the reality, in our reality, the now. And he says, and then this is the part that really, really slammed me up against the wall. He says, when you get to that 5, 10 year mark, or whatever it may be, he said, you won't enjoy that because now you're living 5, 10 years away from that point. And I was like, my mind was blown. It's like, man, he is so right. You know, you're raising kids thinking, okay, they get in, middle school, I want this. They get in high school, I want this. I want to put them in college, and I got to get things ready for them, and I want to do this for my wife, and blah, blah, blah. And you're living in that future all the time. To when they get to that point, you're now 10 years down the road from there. And he says that's a blessing and a hindrance. It is good that we can prepare ourselves for the future. But he said it's also really a hindrance when you cannot even enjoy it when you get there. I was done. Oh wow.
Yeah,
Man.
that's an aha moment. That's a aha moment.
Right.
No doubt.
Right. So I was just like, so that's kind of what you were just saying, Wes, is that your fate is sealed. So we really should spend more time in the present, in our day-to-day, what we can now, rather than trying to live 100 years. You know what I'm saying? We spend money on trying to live longer, and we probably should focus more on the now. What can we do now? Who can we affect now? What can I enjoy right now that has been given to me? That's the mindset I'm trying to really live in that.
Going back to the beginning of this year, everybody was like, they were planning Betty White's 100th birthday. They were going to do this big TV special. Like,
right.
Matter of fact, one of the magazines had already printed Betty White's turning 100. Guess what? Her fate was already decided.
Right.
She died when she was 99 and probably 300 something days.
Yeah.
You just gotta just be the best version of yourself every day.
That's
I don't think about like when that's going to happen. I just try to be the best version of myself every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can do, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is the power of Zen. The power of Zen was Zen teaches you about seeing what is and what isn't there in real time versus getting stuck in the past or striving to make it to the future, that you cannot have both at the same time. So why not just sit down and enjoy the moment that you're in and let it lead you places versus you trying to lead life, let life lead you. But Alan Watts, that's my guy though.
Right. Yeah. I've just read a few things from him. I'm very interested in want to do a little more reading and research on him. But I like what he said. But you just said something that I think, I don't know, if you listen to it, but you talking about the past. And sometimes on the show, you have mentioned things you have done in the past, and you still live with, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me lean in and say it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but do you live with some regrets of what you've done in the past? Something you can't even change. You'll never change it.
Never.
So why do you live with any kind of regret, like you owe somebody?
It's not, sir. It's not that I owe people. As a matter of fact, it is that I owe people. I owe my parents for giving me an opportunity to be here. I owe my ancestors that have entrusted me with their name. I owe them to be better than average, to be better than the norm. I owe them because I carried their legacy forward. It's not that I live in the past. It's kind of like for me running this race called life. Well, sometimes I look back to see how far I am, not how close I am to my past, but the distance that I have between here and now, and still have the fortitude to be able to look forward and have hope and desire to still go forward. So is me talking about my past, especially like with tonight. I do speak a lot on ill treatment of women because it is something that we do on a constant, and it's normalized, and that's something that should not be. But I had my own demons that I had to fight, um, my own struggles, my own trials and tribulations. That's helped shape me into being a better person by understanding my past and not allowing that to bleed forward into my future.
Right.
So I don't want people to think, because I mean I am harsh. I don't want people to think I have not had my own struggles. That I don't still have struggles now. Um, that's what got me in the Zen, and that's what keeps me in the Zen, is quelling those things that I allow to run freely in my mind that I do not allow to come out of my mouth.
Growth. I'll tell you, I mean, we were all real cool in high school. Much love for both of you guys. But after a while, we lost. We lost. Um, at least I lost, I guess, contact with you guys, and it's amazing. I know we weren't going to talk about this, but and I know we talked about it before, but the power of social media and Facebook, how it has connected people that you haven't talked to or seen in 20 something, 30 something years, is amazing. And I remember when I got on the book and me and Mr. Ramo would just kind of go at it from time to time. I would say something and it would be something that he didn't agree with. And I would always find myself like, man, what's up with this dude? But I just knew that it was his I guess his affinity for conflict was the reason why. But we've gotten past that.
Right.
My childhood battles that I've dealt with is having my voice silenced. Growing up in a single household, what mom says, it went. There was not really a whole lot of discussion. There was some discussions, but there was not a whole lot of discussions. So my child that's in the closet comes out when I really don't feel like talking about something. I completely shut down. And I've done the same thing. I learned how to do that with my moms. Excuse me. I learned how to do that with my moms to hurry up and get it over with. So she would say something, and then she would expect a response, and I wouldn't have one because I just wanted to get it over with. And I do the same thing now, especially when an argument comes up, and I know where it's going to lead. I prefer to just go ahead and shut it down.
There you go.
Versus it really going there, because, and I know, Chris, that you hit me with the why does it have to go there? It goes there majority of the times because I allow it to go there. Because I let things surpass, I let them go. Don't look too deep into it. Stay on the surface. Is it really that important? Let it go until something comes back, and then that's when Mr. Nagasaki comes out, and then boom, the whole thing blows up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I had that happen last week, where an argument ensued. And I kept telling her, I told her twice, because I'm not going to repeat myself. Can we stop this? Well, I just want to say something else, and I dropped my head, started editing myself, which I do quite frequently, and then she kept it going. So I had give it to her. Because if I don't give it to you after I'm asking you politely, please let's stop this because you're about to travel in a place that you really don't want to go to with me. I want to be honest. I don't want to be myself. So with that honesty, I can give you a certain level of honesty until you start wanting more or until you start taking my honesty, taking advantage of it. When you know that there are certain areas that I'm not going to go into, but you go into that room anyway, but then you don't want me to walk in that room behind you. Because if I walk in that room behind you, I'm going to close that door like I've spoken before. And I don't like doing that. I don't like hurting people's feelings. And like I said, with that argument, she brought up something that's happened between she and I. And being honest, I felt she didn't have a right to even bring it up. This ain't for you. Because she started telling somebody else about my feelings when she didn't even know herself. Because it's a situation that I keep. Matter of fact, the situation that we talked about off air last week.
Right.
That's the situation that I'm speaking about. Though it involved both of us, I honestly feel like you don't have a right to bring this up. If you want to talk to me about your side of the situation, talk to me about your side of the situation. Don't ask me about mine.
That's not going to work.
Leave my side alone. Leave my
side
alone.
Relationship. That's not going to work.
Wait a minute, please. The reason it's not going to work is because the biggest problem that we have is understanding one another. Right. She's a psychologist, so we try to analyze any and everything, and we don't ask. We analyze, we don't ask. So if you're gonna do that, don't speak for me. Don't ask me about me if you're going to use it to analyze. Right. And I understand that that's with her job. It's not what she does; it's who she actually is. So when you take my portion of what we have going on and you take it to somebody else, and you don't give me a right, you don't give me the opportunity to defend my side, leave my side out. That's why I keep telling you there's certain stories I can tell, and there's a whole lot that I can't, because I am not them, and I don't have authorization from them to tell their story, especially while they're still here. And I don't like when people do that for me, because it's kind of like when you when people talk about you like you're not even standing there. And I hate that. I hate that.
That can feel disrespectful. Definitely.
So when she took the conversation to her friend and she kind of gloated with it, there were some things that I honestly wanted to say that should have been said to another human being. So that's why I'm saying, when it comes to me, if you genuinely don't want to know, and if you're not coming from a place of understanding, leave my side out. Tell your side, leave my side out.
Right.
And that's why I was starting to get angry. That's what my anger was about, is that you don't know, and then you're gloating on top of it. Because she made a comment where she said that she and we laughed about it, and I'm like, I sat back and I started gripping that controller while I almost feel that PlayStation 4 controller breaking. And I had to tell myself, let it go. That's why I asked her to can we stop this? Because this is going to go someplace that I really don't want it to go. So I get what you're saying about there's certain things that you can do in a relationship and certain things that you can't do. I get all of that. But sometimes I have to protect people from themselves because they think they want something and they really don't. They're not really prepared for it.
Well, it's a lot about like we keep talking about this on show. It's a lot about communicating. Is it you just got to find the right way of communicating? Like just mention how some of the things that he picked up with like communicating and understanding how to communicate just with you, you know, and then you're talking about how you communicate with you know this particular person that you were having an argument with. You got to find the right way to like deliver a message, receive a message. I was one of the worst at it. Like when I argue, I gotta win. I have this like I just gotta. If I go into an argument, I'm like set on I'm right. I know it. I've thought about it. I've looked it over, and I'm right. And I gotta win. And that's toxic. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about the standpoint of being righteous versus
Yeah.
being right?
Right. Yep. Yep.
That's why I argue from a place of righteousness, not from being right. So I mean I will hear you out. Whatever it is that you have to say, I will examine it, even if it's the smallest amount of truth. But give a person an opportunity to defend that 1, 2, or 3% of truth because you don't know their backstory. You don't know what drives them. You don't know what sets them off or why they're being set off because you're seeing it is oh, I'm just saying this, that, and the third, and what you're just saying could be traumatic to someone else, and you don't know it.
Well, that's when you gotta communicate. And you can't and then like don't make some like you mentioned the word defend. Like sometimes when I argue the way I did, where I gotta be right, then the person I'm talking to automatically gets defensive because of the way I'm coming at them. And that's what was so toxic about it. When you put up your defenses, you're not communicating. You're deflecting. You're this, that. Now you're looking for, a way to slide something in, or you're shutting down. Whatever it may be, whatever your defense mechanism is, you're throwing it up, and we're not getting anywhere.
Okay, but
So
I'm speaking from the aspect of defending is giving an opportunity to be heard. Just like
yeah,
in a court of law where you have your side that you're looking to win, I have my side looking not to lose.
mhm.
So therefore, that's why I use that word defend in that aspect of you think that I'm a jerk. Okay, we will agree that I am a jerk. But this is why I am a jerk. Don't just walk off and assume that you know why, and then you start making up things in your head to justify what it is that you think. When I can tell you this is what I have going on, and then we sit down, we have a meeting of the minds, and then when you go your way, I know how to deal with you or how to address you, and then you know how to address or receive me.
Right.
But that's the thing is that we don't conversate. We don't communicate. We just throw words at people. And I don't like doing that. I hate that. I hate throwing words at people because those words can get really sharp at times and they really penetrate to a level that some people can never recover.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna raise my hand and say it. And Ron, I'll give you a chance to say. I know I've said things in arguments that have really cut, and once you've done that, it's hard to you can't take it back, and it's hard to get past that. Or so Ron, I don't know what your experience is with that, but I know words hurt. They do.
Yeah,
Uh,
they do. I'm
yeah.
pretty even keel, but my I have an off switch and an on switch, and most of the time it stays off. But when I turn it on, it's really bad.
Right.
It's really bad. It's almost like I have a temper, but it doesn't come out often. You
Mm.
know, but I just kind of going back to Facebook. I went to Facebook jail like 2 times in a row. Like I got into it with someone in a sports group that I'll never meet. Said something out off the wall,
Right.
and I gave him the business. And then I was out of Facebook jail and got into it with either the same guy or someone else. And I said, I got to get the hell out this sports group because
Right.
it's really toxic in there. I mean,
Man.
I said, man, this isn't good, especially when you get into the Jordan, LeBron arguments or
Right.
Kevin Durant, LeBron, or whatever, or sports teams.
Yeah.
It's the most toxic thing I've ever been in. So I finally had to just create a burner account, and I put the burner account in there, and I let the burner account give them the business, and I just kind of keep it moving. And for those that don't know what a burner account is, it's an account that it's you, but they don't know it's you.
Right. Man, you made a good point, man. There's a lot. Like, I enjoy social media. I enjoy connecting with people, especially if you can't see them all the time. But that is also probably the most toxic place on the planet.
It is
social media. Yeah.
It is. Nothing comes close.
Right. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Nothing comes close to that, man. Nothing. There's nothing that ever happened in high school was as toxic as social media is now. And like you said, you getting into it with people, and during that whole political season, man, I was getting into it with people all the time, all over the place, and even some people that I knew, man. And it just, and I just like you. I just said, you know what? I'm not even I scrolled past it. Not even gonna get into it. I was in this phase of commenting on it, comment, and now I just let it go. I just let it go. And I'm starting to see more people do that. And like you see certain comments and you say something that's really just, it's like fishing for an argument, and it might have 2 comments on it. A couple of, I think people have gotten tired of it, or just the circle that I know have gotten tired of that.
Have we?
That's why I preface that with the circle that I know, like the circle.
And that's why I went into that, is because of
you fall on. I see more of them starting to just allow somebody to have an opinion without attacking it, or even in getting involved with a back and forth. We'll just let it go.
Let's not act like football season isn't coming. And then you start doing that thing that you like to do, and then you have the nerve,
I light you up for football season. You know that. Yes. You know that.
Man.
And then you had the nerve to bring in the Booze Brothers.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to light you up for football season. You're going to give me that.
So let's not act like that. Let's not act like you don't go fishing during football. Like you go fishing during football season. Yes, you in Boo too.
Oh, yeah. Man, I dropped McFadden, and he couldn't keep up, man. I got some memes ready for UGA. So anybody, they're gonna catch it this year with football season come. I got the memes ready. But that's all in fun right there. I think we do that, get a laugh. It's all in fun.
Yeah.
Some people, but I will agree, Ron, some people, you could go in these sports pages and get into it. And I did the same thing too. I didn't get put in Facebook jail, but I got into it with a Luka lover. Okay. And I'm like, look, y'all get off of Luka's nuts. It's okay. Yes, he can play. All right. He's good, but stop with the greatest. And guy was just like, a poll came out and said, who's the best player left in the playoffs? And the guy was like, oh, it's Luka, hands down. I laughed at him. I was like, and this was before they got eliminated. I was like, dude, you're kidding me. It's Jason Tatum, it's Jimmy Butler, it's Clay and Steph. Those 4 would come before Luka. And I'm not saying Luka ain't good. I'm just saying these dudes are experiencing better. And man, I lit a fuse. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, that. and it just the back and forth, and it evolved. I ain't gonna lie. I went into the name calling, you know. But hey, he started it first. He don't know. He didn't know who he was dealing with. It started first. I went after. Okay. Basically told him that he just a stat watcher. He don't even know the game. I obviously never played it because he's just like, look at this, look at that. I was, that's what somebody did. I said, dude, you out of your element. You haven't even played the game before. I said, you're a fantasy nerd. I call him a fantasy nerd. And that's all you've ever done. That's all you've ever done is play fantasy sports. You've never played the game. Talking the way you have. And then Luka got eliminated 3 days later. Don't you know? I went and found that post and looked that joker down and hit him up again. Bam! I was petty with it, man. I was petty with it. I was like, go ahead now. But yeah, it can get real toxic in there, man. And unfortunately, sometimes we fall into old ways, following some of these posts,
Go ahead, tree hugger.
But yeah, man. So look, we gonna come to a close. We're gonna do our little finishing up here, but I do wanna get some more of these good topics in for next week. Ron did an excellent job on that Rolling Stones 200 list, man. We had a good laugh about that, but I want to just got to continue that discussion on not only communication, mental health, but just some of the things that we're watching and doing throughout the week. I know for me, for this upcoming week, I'm going to dig in more to that Lupe fiasco, No Drill for Zion. So it was a little misleading title because it mentions drill, but there's no drilling. And I'm telling you, so far it's been good. I like Lupe. I think that I did watch that interview you had posted. I think sometimes Lupe can be a little arrogant about who he is, but sometimes that's how you are when you're really, really confident in what you do.
He's a nerd.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
That's what nerds do.
But he knows his stuff, and he's confident on what he stands on. So I'll be watching. I'll be listening to some of that, and catching up on just some shows and stuff. Man, I'm gonna actually check out Abbott Elementary. Ron was mentioning that he's watching that.
What you got? Too Wild. What you got? Too Wild.
Well, I tell you, man, this was a great episode. The dudes that Benny the Butcher run with, and I know you probably know them all by name, but I went through and I listened to all those cats. Is it a guy like West Side Gun? Isn't it somebody named West Side Gun?
Yeah.
Those cats are dope. And I actually heard a song that one of those cats did with Luda. And it may be about a year old, but it's my first time hearing it. It's a really good song.
Yeah.
But that whole clique, man, it's like those are my guys right now. Like that's what I'm feeling. That whole clique.
Yeah. You hear a lot of buzz about them. Have been, especially from like deep.
They're from Buffalo, right? Buffalo.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Here we go with Buffalo.
I had to throw that out there, like they're from Buffalo. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's where those cats are from.
Right.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to next week and just spreading our word to the masses. But I had a really good time with you guys tonight. It was good. I was hoping you guys didn't give up on me. Being that I had missed the last few weeks, but I'm still here.
No, you part of the show, bro.
Like this, you understand? Since you messing with Griselda, have you checked out Mac Hami?
Who?
Mac Hami. He's from Haiti.
No,
he's kind of doomish.
Okay.
So he brings a different aspect to Griselda. But out of that bunch there, Benny the Butcher is my man. What's our gun? He's all right to me. He's a typical. He puts me in the mind of a modern day version of a Big Boy. Why they have that one particular narrative that they stay on. Conway the Machine, I enjoy his music as well too. But out of that
Conway,
joint,
that's my guy. He's the guy that did the song with Ludacris.
yeah. But Benny
Yeah.
Benny now Benny the Butcher, that's my guy. That Tonka series that he has, that whole series that he put down, it has not been disappointing at all. For me this week, I picked up Dawn's book. I started reading it. Cry Like a Man. She got one. She definitely put me onto a gym. He gets into it. I'm in the early stages of it where he's talking about his family, his history, um, the had with his brothers, and things of that nature. But I mean, so far it has been very interesting. Has held my attention very well. I'm doing that. Who am I listening to for the week? Um, I told Bessie by Elucid I have to take his stuff for a spin. Um, have to go back and check on the Lupe. And more P Valley.
I think we lost Chris.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, listen, this is Wild Wild West. Obviously, we had a good time tonight. Lots of great topics, a lot of content. Headache, would you like to close this out like you always do, brother?
Thank you once again. Thank you for your time and your efforts. I know that you got a whole lot of life going on, a whole lot of living that you're doing, a whole lot of preparation that you're doing for that blessing that's coming forward. Also with your daughter and her play. I saw that one, and congratulations to you on that one.
Thanks, bro.
For pushing her as an artist and giving her room to be an artist or be whatever it is that she wants to be. So I do congratulate you on that one, and I do wish her a great, huge amount of success with that. As always, I hope that the three of us brought something different to the table. I hope that we are able to spark some conversations. And I do appreciate you, gentlemen, giving me an opportunity to be part of something that's so great.
Yeah.
As always, be good to one another. If you can't be good, be yourself. I want everybody to be well. Shoot paper, not people.
All right. On that note, last thing I got, we got a big party coming up on August 6th. It's going to be a 90s throwback with a touch of Southern soul. It's going to be at the Elks Lodge on off Fierce Ferry Road. It's for us old heads from 8 to 12. Gonna have the two sides like we did back in the day with the Touch of Class. So it'll be one side of have a DJ and the other side I have another DJ. But we're gonna have a great time. So check it out on Facebook. I'm out. Peace.